Okay, so the people who decide or that produce goods for us are going to be entrepreneurs. Okay, most of you probably already know what an entrepreneur is, someone that starts a business um, and sells products or services. Um, so they play a major role in creating, your goods and services out of your scarce resources. Okay, so they're going to take the risk, in order to make a profit by doing all the things listed below. All right, but entrepreneurs play a large factor in the economy of the world and in the microeconomic aspect because these are the people that create our products and set the prices, um, and create competition for us to buy our goods and services. Um, so there's three factors of production that entrepreneurs have to take into account. All right, land, labor, and capital. Okay, so we'll talk about those three right here. So with land, okay, that's all the natural resources that they need in order to produce their product. So if it's a construction company, all right, they're going to need the land in order to build the building on or the house on. They're going to need the lumber. They're going to need the steel that is used to um, create the nails and the hammers and things like that. Okay, they're going to need the mix the water in order to make the concrete. Okay, so there are many factors that a lot of companies are going to need in order to produce that are natural resources. Okay, sometimes those natural resources can be scarce, and they have to pay more money in order to get those resources. Okay, another factor of production is labor. So labor is obviously how the work is completed. Okay, so you can have physical labor or intellectual labor. All right, we'll talk about capital in a little bit, but you can have people that are using their brain in order to get the work done and coming up with ideas and things of that nature, creating blueprints and stuff like that if we're staying with the housing company, or you have people that manually do stuff. Okay, so you know you're going to need the people to be putting up the beams and uh, putting the house together manually. Okay, so the last factor of production we'll talk about is capital. Okay, any human-made resource that is used to produce other goods and services. Um, so obviously you're going to need um, machinery, tools, things like that to make production go by quicker, be more efficient, all that kind of stuff. You're also going to need human capital. Okay, so you got your physical capital, which is the buildings and stuff. Then the human capital is the training, the knowledge you need in order to create um, your product. All right, so a college education, you need to get this knowledge in order to be able to create the product. Training, job experience. It's just things over time you learn in order to become more efficient, become better, to learn how to make the product the best way possible. Okay. So capital is a key factor of production because people and companies can use it to save a great deal of time and money. Like I talked about, becoming more efficient. All right. Knowing the product better, knowing how to use the resources efficiently. Okay. Saving time by cutting uh, unnecessary steps. Okay. That's all stuff you learn on the job or you learn through um, different experiences. Okay. So the amount of labor available to produce goods and services can be limited. So there's only so many people that can work for you or that have the knowledge to be able to work for you. Also, um, in order to produce, you might not be able to hire as many workers as you would like to, okay, become more efficient. All right, so there's a number of different things that uh, entrepreneurs and companies must do in order to figure out how much, how many people can I afford to work? How much land can I afford to buy? How many resources can I afford to buy in order to create our product? All right, so that plays a factor in how much you can make. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, companies are going to have to come up with alternatives, okay, and come up with alternative uses. What I use this lumber for might be different than what another company uses this lumber for, or what I use this water for will be different than what this company uses this water for. Okay, for example, concrete and mixing water and then power washing, two totally different companies using the same resource. Okay, so you have to take those things into account when producing. Also, you're going to have to find alternatives for creating your product. Something that might be better, but more, but cost more. Something might work the same, and it might be cheaper. Okay, so sometimes you're gonna have to come up with these alternatives. All right, so choose a company that you are familiar with, and explain how they use three factors: land, labor, and capital.